the formulation of that committee, right? What a crock of shit. Seriously. There I am. I sent off an email months ago to Ralph Goodale's office, asking if he could have someone from his office call me back, because ultimately I would like to, speak to him and or some of the members of his office in order to express, my feelings on certain subjects. And I understand that there's, channels that you got to go through to do that. And I certainly can't call him directly. But to send off an email months ago and get no response, to actually get someone on the phone a couple of months ago and to, express that I have an interest in being part of that committee and to, offer something, to be a healthy contributor to that process, in an effort to get some degree of fairness, you think would be possible, or at least to be, have them entertain the possibility, which, I think that maybe might have been a little bit too much to ask, because of course, I don't receive a call back from his office, and I wait weeks and weeks after they told me somebody would call. And so I leave a couple of messages over the span of the last few weeks, just saying that somebody from their office was supposed to call me back, and leaving them a contact telephone number for them to reach me at. And of course, the day I get the call back is the day he makes his announcement that he's already selected some committee members. And of course, I, like everybody else, go to the news and read who the committee members are, and then I realize, yeah, everything that we thought was going to happen is happening. Clearly, there's a bias in terms of the selection process and who's been chosen to be on this committee. I look at the content of this committee, and I think right out of the gate, you've got 5 people out of 10 that are going to be voting on legislation that is going to have a huge impact on legitimate firearm owners' lives here in Canada, that are clearly on the anti-gun team. Whether they are directly involved or indirectly involved with the Canadian Coalition for Gun Control, there is a connection there. And then you've got, three other unknown variables, and quite honestly, it's everything that we thought it was going to be. It was going to be a stacked deck. That we were going to be given a fair shake in this process. And that's something that we just can't allow. And this is the point where I think that we've got to look to our lobby groups. We've got to look right to the CCFR. We've got to look to the gun lobby groups and ask them, what are they doing about this? Because right out of the gate, I think that it's really important that we address the issue of the optics of having so many people that are clearly anti-gun, that may have such a slanted view of firearms, that we're not going to get a fair shake. If these are the people that are responsible for making decisions that are going to have an impact on the firearm community, they should at least have some knowledge of firearms, you would think. It's a pretty obvious component that I think should exist before you get anybody drafting up any kind of legislation. They should have some exposure to firearms, and certainly not be people that have been traumatized. I don't want to downplay the involvement of one young lady. She survived a horribly tragic and a significant, terrible experience. But to have somebody that was traumatized like that, 20 years later, have some active role in the generation of legislation, can't possibly have an outcome that's going to be fair to the legitimate firearm community. It's ridiculous. The idea that you could have somebody like that. Does her opinion count? Absolutely. Do I feel sorry for what she went through? My heart goes out to her. I want to know that's not us. We didn't do that to you. And it's important that she realize that. And it's important that there be a clear distinction made between the legitimate firearm community and animals that would act like that. And I refuse to be compared to that. And here we are with the generation of this committee that clearly looks like it's going to have a lack of objectivity. And there's going to be a bias that's going to be executed against us. And we saw it coming. And this is the point where we've got to get the lobby groups involved and to clearly show that there is an element of unfairness that's already started and the process hasn't even begun yet. So, this is the stage where, I challenge, the Rod Giltakas of Canada, right, to step forward now, as our spokesperson. Certainly I can do what I can through the Instagram page and through the Facebook and the YouTube videos to encourage people to write into their members of parliament, to write into Ralph Goodale's office, to contact his office, and express and make your opinions known about how you expect to be treated. fairly, just like everybody else does, in Canada. It's ridiculous to think that somebody can create this committee with such a clear, blatant bias in place before we've even begun. Something needs to be done about that, like immediately, right? Before this whole thing gets off the ground and any wind gets under the wings of the anti-gun movement to create legislation that is going to have a huge impact on us. We should begin to gripe now and loud. Right? To stay silent has never worked for us. To stay, in the shadows and quiet has not traditionally worked for us. And historically, governments have created committees like this and have generated legislation that just costs ridiculous amounts of money, is completely ineffective, and ultimately costs the taxpayers tons of dollars not to accomplish what it was designed to do. We had that the last time around.